Canada. This is a man that is committed to travel from every coast to coast to coast in order to make sure that the Liberal Party is going to be well positioned for 2015. Our first job is to make sure that Justin Trudeau becomes the next leader of the Liberal Party of Canada. And Manitoba is going to show and demonstrate to the rest of Canada that we're number one when it comes to getting behind Justin Trudeau. As a province, we are going to deliver supporters like no other province on a per capita basis. Isn't that right? We have the people, we have the energy, we have the capability to materialize. We want Manitoba to grow from 1 to 12 to 14 seats in 2015. And I'm telling you that it can be done. The party has done it in the past, and we have an individual that cares for his country, that loves people, that can make a difference, that can build dreams, that gets people excited. And that's what the leadership is going to be all about. Getting people excited. We want people to know that the Liberal Party is alive. And the person that can do that is Justin Trudeau. It's an honor, it's a pleasure on behalf of each and every one of us to welcome Justin Trudeau today, this afternoon. Let's give it up for Justin Trudeau, the next leader of the Liberal Party of Canada.
Cet accueil chaleureux et enthousiaste comme toujours. I want to thank Kevin for being here, for helping me out, for returning the favor. I got to introduce you in a similarly crowded room when you won your first election, the by-election, and I'm incredibly happy to be back in this very same room, surrounded by so many friends. Anita Neville, our dear colleague, is here as well. Give it up for Anita. And I also had the privilege of just having a great conversation with David Chartrand, the head of the Manitoba Federation of Métis, and it really is a pleasure to see so many different community leaders here. It's wonderful, because what I realize is, despite all the cameras and despite all the attention that you're giving, this is actually not really about me. This is about you. This is about Canadians hopeful and hungry for something better than what they're being offered. There is a sense that we can and must work together to take back our politics to be people and organizations that we believe in. And we have to know that the work we do as individuals, within our communities, within our groups of families and friends, matters. And on that note, I do want to take a moment to remember and to acknowledge a friend of mine and yours, Bob Douglas, who passed just a little while ago. I met Bob a number of times. I didn't know him as well as most of you did, but I had the pleasure of working with him, and his strength as a community organizer, his advocacy, his fierce defense of the agricultural issues that he was so passionate about, but also his capacity to advise on so many different, chew your ear off on so many different issues, is something that will be sorely missed. But it's exactly in that spirit of volunteerism, of community service, that I'm so glad to be here with you this afternoon. Now, I'm running for leadership for this party because I truly believe that we all need to stand together, roll up our sleeves, and work together to make sure that this Conservative government does not get to continue to bring this country in a direction that we do not want to go. Now, one of the strongest markers of this government that does not bring us where we want to go is that they're refusing to listen to people. They're refusing to listen to anyone who disagrees with them or who might disagree with them. They're trying to cut down our access to conversations with Parliament, with conversations with our MPs, but also trying to cut down our access to conversations about science, about facts, because if the facts disagree with them, well then it's time to get rid of the facts. This government doesn't believe in science because it's much easier for them to fit the facts to suit their policies and twist reality to suit their own ideology. And that is something that goes beyond party politics and starts bringing us as a country, as communities, in the wrong direction. And when I was thinking about what I was going to be able to share with you here in Manitoba, the examples were so glaring that I really did want to address this issue of science and facts and evidence. So we don't have to go far to see the Experimental Lakes area, just in northwest Ontario. Now, it is one of the most important scientific research sites in Canada, and the Harper government is choosing to shut it down and sell it off. We have a federal government that in its upcoming budget will spend somewhere in the neighborhood of $276 billion. Up against that, the Experimental Lakes program costs about $2 million every year. It does innovative research that helps us protect and understand our most valuable of resources, our water, and it has global impact. It's research done in the Experimental Lakes area that addressed and drew the first clear conclusions about acid rain and its danger to our continent. It helps people around the world save their lakes and rivers, not just from acid rain, but from pollution. And their work around phosphates has led to tremendous changes in our habits as consumers. Every time we do a load of wash, it's different because of what the ELA has achieved in terms of science. And even the Conservatives recognized that a little bit in 2011 when they poured $1 million worth of their economic action plan into building a new lab for the ELA. Now, they're willing to sell it for $1 if they can find a buyer. Because continued research into environment and pollution keeps getting in the way of their short-term, short-sighted agenda. And that's got to stop. But instead of stopping, they're continuing and giving us other examples.
shutting down the National Research Council buildings in downtown Winnipeg. They're closing Agricultural Canada research at the University of Manitoba, where the work with canola contributed to adding billions of dollars and many jobs to the Canadian economy. The scientists and the researchers who work at these facilities should be celebrated as an essential piece of the future of this country. They are creating the ideas that will turn into jobs and growth for our kids and for our grandkids. And these scientists are finding solutions to some of the most important problems that we face here in Manitoba, across Canada and around the world, whether it be clean water and the environment, a healthy food supply, and sustainable growth for rural communities. But the Conservative government is turning their backs on all of it. We have to understand that it's more than just about losing jobs. It's more than losing the ideas. It's fundamentally about the fact that we're losing the ideas and the talent that we're going to have to solve these problems. Stephen Harper thinks that when he's Prime Minister, he doesn't just get to tell everybody what to do. He doesn't just get to tell everybody what the rules are. He also gets to tell everybody what to think. What is right, what is wrong, what is good, what is wrong. And he's not that smart. We need our smartest people to be sharing their research. We need the smartest researchers we have across the country, whether they be social scientists, political scientists, or pure and applied science. We need them to be able to stand up and report their findings, talk about their research, provide for us solutions that are going to help. And instead, he's got all these very, very smart people worried that they're going to lose their jobs and their fundings if they dare say something that contradicts the ideologically driven agenda of this government. Well, that's not just wrong, that's not Canadian. We were built as a country on many perspectives, on people coming in from around the world. Ici au Manitoba, à Winnipeg, un des endroits qui se démarque, et dans le passé, avec les différentes cultures qui se rassemblaient, Métis, Anglais, Français, Premières Nations, mais aussi ces jours-ci, avec des programmes d'immigration qui sont les plus réussis de partout dans le pays. On a bâti un pays fort, non en dépit de nos différences, mais à cause de ces différences. This multiplicity of voices that has always characterized Canada's greatest strength is now suspect in the eyes of our very own Prime Minister. He doesn't want anyone to have the courage or the power to tell his government that it's headed in the wrong direction. Not charities, not scientists, not the Wheat Board, which provides so many good jobs here in Winnipeg. He either muzzles them or he fires them. Well, that's not how the Prime Minister should operate in a free and democratic society. That's not what we deserve as Canadians. Call me old-fashioned, but I believe in facts. I believe that policy should be based on what we know to be true, not what the Prime Minister hopes is true. He's the Prime Minister. He's entitled to his own opinion. He just can't impose his own reality on the rest of the country. See, it's not just citizens and it's not just scientists and other experts, but ordinary citizens here in Winnipeg and across the country who are being shut out. The Conservatives have decided that bringing people in, that debate and disagreement, that engaging Canadians, that democracy itself is just too messy. They've decided they don't need to engage Canadians on important questions because, hey, they already have all the answers. That's why we have an omnibus bill that packages everything in. That's why the attack, and I take this one almost personally, the attack on navigable waters as a canoeist you can no longer find a list of canoe, the canoe. Let me put this in context. The Navigable Waters Act defined a navigable waterway as one that could be traveled in a canoe. And that meant that if a creek was big enough to paddle a canoe down it, you couldn't suddenly turn around and build a dam, or build a moat, or build a bridge, or create a log jam without going through the proper steps of consultation and approval. So the heart of navigable waters is. What have they done instead? Well, they've decided to generate a list of navigable waters that explicitly says 97 different lakes and rivers that are considered navigable waters and therefore cannot be affected in this way without permission. Well, I don't know the last time Conservatives actually went out for a good paddle. But there's an awful lot more than 97 lakes and rivers that are navigable, even right here around Winnipeg, let alone right across the country. My friends, we've had enough. Enough of government by edict in this country. One man who thinks he knows all the answers. That's what Harper has done to politics in Canada. The only person he consults with is the one he sees in the mirror every morning when he's shaving. No wonder people are angry, anxious, and disengaged. There is a tremendous cynicism right across this country right now about politics. And you know what? It's deliberate. Mr. Harper has realized, has learnt well from the politics of Karl Rove of the South, understanding that the politics of division, of envy, of mistrust, of fear are unfortunately very effective at getting elected. If you pick the right wedge issues, you pick the right points to hammer home, you carefully analyze communities and micro-target certain of them. Think about who's going to vote for you, who might vote for you, and who would never vote for you, and behave specifically in consequence. You can actually get elected. Hell, you can even get a majority. He's proof of that. He's also, however, proof that once you do get elected like that, you can't govern worth a damn. And the reason for that is very simple. We are a country of differences, of division. We are a country that is defined by the tremendous range of perspectives, of cultures, of language, of religion, of geographical realities, east to west, urban to rural, English to French. All the variations imaginable come together to make this improbable, unlikely, extraordinary country work well. But it only works on the condition that we have a government that is willing to work on bringing people together with everything it does instead of driving them apart. And we have a government in Stephen Harper who's decided to put an X on certain parts of the country, like Quebec, and count on getting his majority and do what he likes from a very specific group of people. And unfortunately, the NDP has chosen to go down a very similar path. And picking Thomas Mulcair, very top-down, very strong and aggressive, like Mr. Harper is. And yes, the two of them are going to be able to go toe-to-toe quite excitingly, because they're flip sides of the same coin. But Mr. Mulcair came out and put a big X over Alberta, and is picking and choosing the constituencies that he's going to reach out to, picking and choosing the corners of the country that he wants to represent and try to win votes for, picking and choosing the elements within communities that he's willing to play to, and it leaves all of us as Canadians despairing that there isn't any one person or party who are actually going to stand up and speak to, with, and for all Canadians. And that's